Hey guys, you're listening to episode 54 of the School of Intuition Soundcast, and I'm your host, Natasha Che. This soundcast is a self-realization training for the empathic badass, and my goal here is to give you the tools and the awareness to walk with power in this world as an empathic light being, so that you can make the contributions and make the impact on this planet Earth that only you can make. And today I want to talk about spiritual ambitions and how those ambitions are executed. And I feel inspired to talk about this because I recently was having this private mentoring session with someone. So in these sessions, I basically talk about anything the person wants to talk about in their life. Okay? So I asked the person, what can I help you with today? And he said, well, someone told me, someone being, healer, psychic type. And he said, so-and-so told me that my heart is not very open. Like my heart channel was clogged, or some word that he used that was not flattering. Okay. So he said, my heart was very closed. And I want to know, how can I make my heart more open? Okay. How can I open my heart more? So this is someone who, has been on a spiritual path for a while and very self-aware, very kind, a beautiful person. So I said, well, you know what? There are so many things that we can talk about in that question. But let me ask you one thing, okay? Let me ask you this. Why? Why do you want your heart to be more open? What do you think you will get, okay, by having a more open heart? And that stunned him a little bit. And he was like, well, that is a good question. I think that it will get me more freedom. And, it's a more awareness. It makes life better, more beautiful. Maybe it's better for intimate relationships with interactions and connections with people. And I was like, yeah, sure. Those are the utilitarian benefits, okay, of having a more open heart. But I don't feel that is the issue here. That is not the issue that you need to work on here. Because here's the thing, okay? Many people turn to a spiritual path when they realize, okay, I have checked this and that boxes in the so-called mainstream external life. I've got a house, I've got a spouse, I've got a job that I wanted, been to the schools that I want to go to. I've attained all these goals, but then I realized, okay, is there all there is? Is this, but why am I still not happy? So that's a very common way of people turning to a spiritual path. People turning to a path of internal exploration is when they realize, okay, I've been so busy building this life that I think will make me happy, this external life. And after a while, I realized, okay, this is not making me happy. So let me explore what I can do internally to make myself happy, to attain that happiness, to attain that freedom, right? So that is a very common theme to a lot of people. They're tired of this societal rat race, this, mainstream whatever mode of life. And people turn, because people are tired of that, people turn to inner exploration. But the thing is, when people come to the spiritual path, we carried all that modalities with us. And we learn all these teachings of, unconditional love, of self-love, of forgiveness, of, energies and chakras and whatnot. And we started to think, okay, these are my new goals now. Of course, nobody consciously is telling themselves that, but seriously, for many people, what happened is, on some level, that becomes their new goals for attainment. That becomes a new set of objects to achieve in order to feel better about ourselves. So now I'm on a spiritual path. I'm not pursuing material things anymore, but I've still got to check the boxes of, am I being forgiving enough? Do I have an open enough heart? Am I unconditionally loving? Do I love myself? Check. If I check all these boxes, life is beautiful, or life is supposed to be beautiful after I'm able to check all these boxes. Here's what I want to tell you, okay? It doesn't quite work that way. That if you, at least on some level, if you feel like those are the boxes you need to check in order to attain a certain level of mastery or enlightenment or whatever that you're after, you are largely missing the point of this journey. Okay? So it's like, that's why I asked the person, why? Why do you want a more open heart? And he's like, okay, well, I guess it's generally a good thing, Yeah, more freedom, more intimacy is, all wonderful. And then I asked him, okay, do you realize, is that a personal experience that you don't have a very open heart? Or is that, did that become a thing only after someone else told you so? And he was like, well, most of the time I feel okay. I don't feel like I'm, my heart is anything different, anything weird. I don't feel like there's anything weird about my heart. But this healer said this to me and made me wonder, okay, maybe this is something that I can improve. Maybe I need to do something about this. And I was like, stop right there. Okay. So if you're having an authentic experience, if you have a real experience of feeling your heart is constricted and feeling you are not living up to your potential, you feel like there is something more out there if your heart can be more open, that is one thing. Okay. If you are buying this from someone else, whoever that is, I don't care whether it's Dalai Lama telling you you need to be more unconditionally loving, or it's the Archangel telling you, hey, please open your heart. I don't care who's telling you that. If that is not an authentic experience, if that's not an authentic desire that is being driven internally, then you are merely checking boxes. So here's the thing. Take the heart example, okay? There is nothing intrinsically right or wrong about your heart being open or closed or 75% open or 50% open, or opening only to this group of people but not to the general public. There are all sorts of ways of how hearts are wired and configured. Okay? And at any particular moment, your own particular configuration is there for a very good reason. Spiritual people, the spiritual teachers may tell you, hey, open your heart, allowing genuine human connections. Life will be great. It will be so much freedom, da 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 da. But that's all well and good. However, you cannot let that goal, that box to check, to supersede your own authentic experience. And here's what I mean by this, okay? Whatever the condition of your heart is, you're feeling whatever you're feeling. And this person that I was talking to, he really didn't feel like his heart was closed. Now, I can see that, okay? I can see maybe he was in a stage. He was at a stage of development that he needed to be in at that time. Was his heart very open? No. However, he is not even at a stage that he is aware of the relative openness or closeness of his heart. So there is no organic instigator within to make any changes. That tells me that, hey, this is a stage that this person needs to be in right now, because that is the authentic experience. Someday in the near future, maybe he will start to feel different. Maybe one day, because I went through this process myself, right? Everything was fine. I didn't feel like anything was missing. But suddenly one day, I started to feel all the walls that I've built around myself. I started to feel all that walls I have built over the years around my heart that has protected me over the years from hurts and disappointments, and also protected me from the beauty and love and connection of the world. Okay? But it was there for a very good reason. Because I didn't have the chops to handle all that will come along with a more open heart. So all that protection, all that lack of awareness was there for a very good reason. It was there to fit my particular stage of development at the time. And the time for change didn't come until my whole system says, okay, we have mastered this self-protection stage for long enough. We know how this game is played. Now it's time for us to move on to a different stage. And that's when I started to feel, okay, I didn't realize my heart was really closed. I didn't realize I had so many walls around me. And then there was a genuine desire to break out of it. But then that interim stage was a different stage. I had to allow myself to sit in that stage, to sit in that discomfort of feeling the constraint, of being fully consciously aware of the wirings of my heart at that particular time, without trying to do much to resist it or to change it in order to have a full experience of it, so that that experience can be sufficiently felt and acknowledged in order to move on to something else. So a lot of times people on the spiritual path, we feel like, okay, we should be this, we should be that. I should love myself. I should be forgiving. I should be unconditionally loving. And we look at other people, it's like, if someone disappointed us, and the spiritual person goes, well, that person is just not self-aware. I hope you realize there is this very subtle resistance and very subtle judgment about the things that does not fit into those boxes. And what I want to tell you is that is not helpful. Okay? That is not helpful if you want to live a freer, more expanded life, which is supposedly the goal of any kind of spiritual attainment. And the next thing I want to tell you about is related, which I actually have already discussed this, is honesty about your present experience is way, way more important than any spiritual attainment, any goal, any box that you are thinking of checking. What do I mean by that? Take the heart example. Okay? When you're thinking, okay, my heart needs to be more open. That is a intellectualization of the experience. That is not the real experience itself. Right? So that is your intellect talking. I need to do this. I need to do that. My heart is not open because I had this terrible experience in the past and I got into this self-protective mode, and that's why I'm not open. All of that is intellectualization. Okay? That's not the actual experience. The actual experience of the heart cannot be replaced by your intellectualization. Whatever experience you're having with your heart at that moment, the acknowledgement, the embracement of that experience, that is what you need. Whatever that experience is, may not be the one you want. Okay? But the thing is, a lot of times, because we think we need to be aligned with those spiritual goals, we are being drastically dishonest with the experience that we are currently having. I hope you know what I'm talking about here. What will really help you is not to align yourself with some spiritual goal, some spiritual ideal that your current experience, your current state of being, for whatever reason, is actually not aligned with. your mind may go, okay, I want to be an unconditionally loving person. But your system, your emotional, energetic system, that's not where you're at. And when that happens, please realize that. Please acknowledge that, because that is important. That honesty regarding the precise experience that you are having right now is so much more important than you trying to achieve any type of spiritual ideal. There is a tremendous power in acknowledgement of your current experience with honesty. You know, when people go to AA meetings, the first thing you say at the meeting is, I'm an alcoholic. My name is so and so, and I'm a alcoholic. And why do people say that? Because when there is a experience that we are having that does not fit into the ideal picture, the immediate instinct of most people is to hide it. In other words, is to deny it. Is to shovel it under the carpet and pretend it doesn't exist. And that is the least helpful thing. Because until that experience is fully acknowledged and felt and honored, most likely it's not gonna go away, no matter how hard you try. Okay, here's the irony: the more you try to make it go away, the more sticky it is. So that statement, my name is so and so, I'm a alcoholic, is to try to get people into an honest place of their current situation, and that is the first step of any shift, of any healing, right? So obviously, you don't want to make a personal identification out of it. You don't want to carry that badge, that identity forever, when it's no longer true. But really, the intent of a statement like that is to acknowledge the fact of where you are. Okay? So if you want a more open heart, by the way, forcing yourself to open your heart is never going to work. You can tell your heart every second, hey, heart, please be open. Come on, why are you so closed? Not going to work. What is going to work is to fully acknowledge where your heart is at this moment. Your heart doesn't want to be open, okay? Your heart looks at all that group of people, nah, not doing it. And it has its own reason. It has a very good reason to do so. And we need to acknowledge that. And here's, by the way, also why a lot of times healings don't work. Okay, you go to a healing session, you go to whatever, shamanic, energy work, Reiki, and the healer works on you for 45 minutes. Afterwards, you feel great. You feel like, oh, okay, I cleansed a bunch of stuff, those things left me forever. Now I'm free to move on. Yay, I'm a free new person. Unfortunately, a week later, seems like you go back to your old pattern again. So why those kind of healing a lot of times don't tend to work? It's exactly because a part of your system, that part of your system is not being acknowledged enough. You have not spent your time to fully immerse yourself facing this experience enough for your system to say, okay, we've done this enough. We have mastered this experience. Now we are free to move on. Sometimes you need to experience the struggle. You need to spend time in it. You need to acknowledge the pain. You need to know the struggle inside and out for life to say, hey, we've done this long enough. Now you've really known the drill. Now we can move on. The longer you try to keep that thing in the shadow, the longer you avoid acknowledging with honesty your current state of being, the longer it lingers, because you have not mastered this stage of development. Right? So the ego comes to the spiritual path thinking this is a whoever gets the bigger prize faster wins game. And it's not. So whenever you find yourself thinking, okay, I should be, I don't know, more forgiving. I should love myself more. I should, stop being angry at this person. Stop for a second. Send some love to that part of you who think that you should be doing all that. But instead, try to discover with honesty. Sometimes it takes some courage to do so. Okay? Where you are actually at right now. And try to experience that. Whatever feelings or sensations or the absence of feeling or sensations that you are having at that particular moment. The more you acknowledge whatever it's positive or negative, whether it's joy or happiness or shame or sadness or anger, frustration, whatever, the more you honestly allow yourself to experience it, the more freedom that you will have coming out on the other side of it. It's like the caterpillar. Imagine if the caterpillar says to you, you know what, I'm so depressed because you know what my lifelong goal is? To grow wings. I don't have any wings. I want my butterfly wings. That's the same thing as you sitting here telling yourself, hey, I want to be forgiving. I want to be unconditionally loving. I want to be free of this and that negative emotions. It's the same thing. What would you tell to the caterpillar? Well, it's not your time yet. When the time has come, you will turn into butterfly. But, works not, it doesn't really work that way. It's not like I stick two wings onto you, you become a butterfly. No. The butterfly has a totally different way of life compared to the caterpillar. But the caterpillar will get there. But right now, please, just be a very good caterpillar. Okay? Stay where you are. Acknowledge the state that you're in. If you can, be a good caterpillar, and your time will come. Otherwise, you're just frustrating yourself to no end. And it would be pretty much a waste of time. And when you have mastered your current stage to a sufficient extent, rest assured your wings will grow on their own without any prodding from your part, because that will be your natural stage, your natural next stage of being, next state of being. When you're being a caterpillar, you can study the butterflies, you can analyze the butterflies, you can name all the different names of butterflies, you can know so much intellectually about butterflies. It's just like people on a spiritual path. You can know so much intellectually about consciousness, about how love works, about how the heart and different layers of an energetic system works. Why does it matter? It doesn't. All that intellectualization does not make you a butterfly, okay? You will become the butterfly once you have mastered your caterpillar life. Meanwhile, enjoy the time you have at whatever stage that you're having, because once this is past, you're not going back. Okay? So that's all for today. And I want to thank you for making this soundcast part of your weekly routine. And if you have not subscribed to the School of Intuition, make sure you go to natashache.com/school to join the tribe. And I will see you next time.